Hey, this is Subspace Transmissions. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Cam.
Cam, we just watched the final episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 1. I cannot believe it. And it left us on a bit of a cliffhanger. The Enterprise, the NCC 1701, it's coming back, baby. We're going to get, presumably, a little bit of Captain Pike action.
Yeah.
Number 1, and here's the big question, Cam.
No, Dr. Boyce action. That's what I'm excited about.
That's what you're excited about.
Yeah.
Spock. Is this guy going to be... Look, you've set it up. You've got Sarek. You've got Burnham. How could you not have Spock come back? But Cam, I'm very skeptical that we're going to get a Zach Quinto appearance here. I think
maybe the kid that played young Spock in
he's all grown up
the
now?
2009 movie.
Okay. The issue here, though, I think let's just be practical about it. With regards to the Paramount and CBS,
I'd rather be hysterical about it. I'm very angry about this, people. Very angry. No.
With regards to Paramount and CBS, we have a big split between these two entities. One owns the movie franchise, the other owns the TV franchise. So at this point, I think just from a legal perspective, it's going to be a bit of a tough sell to get Zach Quinto over here. So we're looking at like a new actor, presumably coming in playing Spock. I just don't know how they set this all up without the intention of bringing a young Spock into the fold here.
Yeah, I mean,
are you excited to see this?
I'm very nervous if that's the route they're going to take.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, oh man, this poor actor is walking into so much baggage. Because obviously you have Sarek on the ship right now on the Discovery. So he's got to, play off the dynamics with Sarek. You obviously got all the Burnham dynamics, the brother-sister dynamics. This is not an actor who's being kind of given the Spock origin story to kind of grow into the role. It's like, here, you're just thrown into that really intense dynamics with two characters we've spent an entire season already with.
The one, I guess, saving grace, though, is that this actor and this character, they can come into the series 10 years before we really got to know him in Star Trek, the original series. Of course, we saw him in The Cage.
Laughing at flowers.
Laughing at flowers.
I would love it if his first appearance in Discovery, he's just laughing at flowers.
He can hang out with Stamets with all the spores.
Laughing at spores.
Laughing at spores.
Yeah.
But I think that this character can do a little bit of different stuff. He just doesn't have to do kind of like some some Nimoy cosplay, which I think would be the worst thing ever if he's just trying to do like a weird imitation of him.
I mean, James Frain has not done Sarek cosplay, so I don't see why Spock would.
I think, look, he's such an iconic character. They've set it up in such a way that you have to bring this character back, and I think there's some good potential because, as you mentioned, the Burnham and the Sarek stuff between the three of them, how can that not just be awkward and uncomfortable and full of a lot of conflict?
Definitely. I just wonder, was this smart? Is this something you want to avoid at all costs? I'm all for bringing in Pike, and we talked on the podcast about bringing Pike back as a character who'd be fun to see revisit. It's cool to see, number 1 from The Cage, or Dr. Boyce. But Spock, man, that's a...
It's a bold choice here. And I'll say this, it shows confidence on the part of the writers.
And they've done some good casting on Discovery so far, so I think they might be able to do it, but I don't know. It's tough.
Okay, so
my biggest worry is that you have Zach Quinto, who I think some people maybe have issues with in the Kelvinverse films, but he's taken a certain amount of ownership over the role on screen, and
helped a lot by the fact that Leonard Nimoy was passing the baton on to him.
Definitely. Yeah. My worry is that the actor we get playing Spock on Discovery is going to be kind of like those actors who got thrown onto the show Gotham to play the Joker, where it's like no one really even takes them that seriously because you already have these big established ones, on the big screen or whatever with a lot more, I guess, fanfare and budget behind them. You know what I mean? It could feel kind of like the small version of Spock next to these two heavyweights.
I know.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people will be like, well, he's whatever. You still got Zach Quinto. He's the better one. That's my biggest worry is this actor's going to be facing.
Okay. But Cam, I just want to know this from you. What was your reaction when you saw the Enterprise hit the screen here? Was it... were you thinking, this is a little bit earlier in the run than I ever thought that they would actually have the gall to do this?
I was very happy to see it. I mean, this episode, Will You Take My Hand, had a lot of original series shout-outs. And so, I mean, this was kind of a perfect way to cap it off at the end. So I loved it, and I loved, hearing that Captain Pike was on the scene. Honestly, my head didn't even grapple with the Spock problem until the episode had ended.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man, we're going to see number 1 and Pike. And the Enterprise, awesome. And then it was like, oh, wait, uh-oh.
But I'll say this from a pure cinematic viewpoint. When it came on screen, the music swelled, and you saw that Constitution-class starship, my tummy had butterflies in it. I was like, wow, they really sold it to me, and there's so much potential here. There are a couple revisions to this Constitution-class starship, which we were wondering about, just based on, say, the appearance of the USS Defiant in the Mirror universe. We saw kind of that grid pattern, and it had been updated over the years by the Terran Empire, so we could kind of understand the differences between, the looks here. I think the most notable change here, the nacelles, I buy it. It's not like a drastic change here, so I'm okay with it. And the other thing, you can kind of explain it away with like, oh, well, this takes place 10 years before the original series.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So things could change over those 10 years,
I'd have to say, get your nacelles refit. Why not?
Yeah. Now, with the casting of Pike, do they go with, sort of a Bruce Greenwood age, or do they go with Jeffrey Hunter age?
I think they go kind of like Jeffrey Hunter.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
Look, I'd be down for Bruce Greenwood, don't get me wrong. But again, I think it comes back to the legal issues between Paramount and CBS.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if he's going to be a character similar to the one that we met in The Cage, who
crying on his bed.
Well, he didn't even really want to be a Starfleet captain at this point. So is there going to be natural conflict between one acting Captain Saru as well as Pike, who, I don't know, they both have their own issues with being in command?
I don't know that we've gotten a really good hammered down version of young Pike yet. Right. And I would actually say in the first Discovery novel, they didn't do a great job in making him super compelling either. And so I'm really interested to see, like, can this show give the character of Pike, like, a spirit that I think's been missing from him as sort of this kind of proto-Kirk explorer. Like, we haven't seen a Pike that's really exciting. We've seen the really cool father figure type with Bruce Greenwood, but he's not the adventurer.
So, well, let's talk about what the characters might be up to in Season 2.
Dr. Boyce? Well, I mean, I don't know, He's had a lot of problems, gambling.
Okay. Wasn't Boyce into horses?
He was.
Yeah, okay.
He liked the ponies.
We'll get gambling. Place your bets.
Sure.
So, look, we've got like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
There's really nothing but we can do but just a little bit of supposition on our part. But, like, what kind of story do we expect to see? I'll say this. The writers have been hinting that they're trying to deal with maybe the fallout from the resolution to the Klingon War. I do wonder if this is going to kind of intertwine itself with the whole Ash Tyler L'Rell stuff. So I do wonder if we do have the opportunity to have, Pike, Spock, number one, involved with the, L'Rell and Tyler stuff too.
What I really like about leaving Ash Tyler behind is that a lot of the time on, the other series, they would go to a planet, there'd be some sort of problem that they would kind of solve. Sort of. They would leave, a new ruler or something to kind of fix the problems. And then they're like, well, off to the next planet.
Yeah.
By leaving Ash Tyler behind on Kronos, we now have to go back to see the progress. We've never really seen that on Star Trek.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Okay. Cam, overall, let's just give our final thoughts on the finale. Are you excited for where we're going in Season 2?
I am very curious to see where we go in Season 2, because I think Season 1 was a very strange season in a lot of ways.
It had its ups and downs.
Yes, it did. Yeah. And, I think the same could be said for the finale. But I'm really curious to see what happens in a season without like a billion exec producers bouncing around, with a more clear vision of what these showrunners want to do. So I'm really excited to see what happens, like their compromised vision.
Any chance in hell that they make their way to Vulcan and they actually pick up the next captain, or are they just setting up for either Saru or Burnham to take over after this whole Enterprise arc?
I'm not that psyched about getting a new captain, like another kind of guest actor of the season sort of thing.
He's not going to be in it for the long haul, or her.
Unless it's Jolene Blaylock.
Actually,
that would be pretty great.
I was actually thinking in my brain when we heard that they were going to Vulcan to pick somebody up as the new captain, like, who are the Vulcans that we know from that era? Well, we know Spock, we know Sarek. Really, the only other one that could fit in who's notable, it would be one T'Pol, as well as, I guess, T'Pol from Amok Time.
Yep.
I don't think she's going to be a captain of a starship, though.
No.
So other than that, are there any like really notable Vulcans? I can't think of any.
Ston.
Okay.
The one that like ended up marrying Spock's wife or whatever, to-be wife.
Cybok?
Sure.
Captain Cybok.
Oh, I would love that, Captain Cybok. But, okay. T'Pol seems like a fun idea. It'll never
not
happen.
gonna happen.
Never
Yeah.
happen. But I would like it if it did.